Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Papi Brit. Welcome to Platicando con Papi. If it's your first time here, then welcome. And if you've been here before, then welcome back. Thank you so much for making time and space for me. I know it's been a while, and I know that it might be people's first time here. I realize that I've met a lot of people this past year. And so if it's your first time here, then I want to give a little context as to who I am, what I do, and what this podcast is about. I also lost a nail, so we love that. This is my reminder to go book my appointment to get it fixed. It's been a while since I've recorded a podcast. I feel like I took a pretty long break, and even before that, I was pretty inconsistent. It genuinely was just not making me happy anymore. And so I was like, okay, well, then I just don't have to do it if it's not making me happy. I figured I would take some time today to talk about where the podcast has been, where I have been, and what I see for this podcast and for myself moving forward. I feel like this last year, even 2 years since I've had my podcast, I actually just came up on 2 years for having this podcast, and I feel like I'm a whole different person, and so much has happened in those 2 years. It literally feels like a roller coaster. I feel like I am finally seeing the light. I'm finally at the end of the tunnel, and I'm starting to feel lighter even. And so I feel like I'm finally at a space where I am okay to come back to the podcast. Honestly, the biggest reason that I took a break from it was because I honestly was getting a lot of hate, and it was really fucking shitty. I was getting comments that, like, I don't even know how people can, like, muster up such hateful rhetoric and such hateful comments. It just, like, was amazing to me, and it was crazy to see, like, just how far people can go. And to take it back, I began this podcast because I wanted it to be a place where I could just come on here and talk to people. I go live on TikTok, and I used to go live a lot. I still do here and there, just whenever it feels right for me. But I used to go on there a lot, and I used to yap, and I used to talk, and I used to overshare, and I used to, just talk about my life. And so I kind of saw the podcast as an extension of that. And it was really just a place where I wanted to talk and connect with people and share my experiences, and hopefully, like, be a safe space for other people to do the same. And it quickly became not that. I started getting a lot of hate comments. I realized that most of those comments are from fucking insults on the internet and miserable people that have nothing else to do, that just sit on the internet and project. So now I know that it literally has nothing to do with me, and I've made peace with that, so it's fine. But there were moments where those comments really did get to me, and especially this last year, because as many of you know, I lost my job and was unemployed for a couple months, which was really, like, I think the catalyst to everything that came after that. And definitely exactly what I needed. Like, had I not been pushed, like, I would have not moved. So I'm grateful now, looking back. Like, I know it's what I needed, but obviously it felt like a very big hit towards me as a person. I'm a fucking Capricorn. I have been working since I was 14 years old and have had multiple jobs since then. I take pride in my work ethic. And yeah, Capricorns literally base our fucking worth on our work and our money and everything else. So yeah, it was a huge hit, and it really felt like I got kicked off a ledge and just left to fall on my own. I had always been super hyper independent, never asked for a single thing from my parents, and was just hyper independent in general. And so for the first time, like, I had to tell my immigrant parents that I had lost my job, and it was something that I had a lot of shame around and a lot of hurt. And yeah, it was my first time having to be like, I'm not okay, which, yeah, it was the first time that I had to call my dad crying. Like, I would never talk to my parents. We just didn't have that kind of relationship. And so yeah, it was the first time that I really had to be super vulnerable. And I had a lot of shame around it, honestly. And there was a lot of hurt because on top of that, like, a lot of the people that I would have that I ride or died for and died for, and that I would, always take into consideration, and that I loved and cared about, and that, you know, I ended up realizing that they weren't really in my corner, or I just started to kind of have to reassess a lot of the friendships and relationships that I had. I realized that a lot of people weren't considering me in the same way that I was considering them. So yeah, I ended up, within this last year, I stopped talking to and lost a lot of friendships. And anyone that's ever been in my life, I still wish them well, and I hope they're doing well. But I did, and end up having to walk away from a lot of friendships and from people that I genuinely thought were going to be in my life forever, or people that I considered like family. So yeah, it was a lot of, like I said, it was a whirlwind of, losing my job, uh, losing a lot of friends. My grandma died. Yeah, it was a lot of loss. And, I ended up making the decision to move in with my family last year, in September. And that was a big jump for me because I had moved out at 17. Like I said, I had never had like that close relationship with my parents and or with my family in general, but like when I got fired, I started to come here in the time that I was unemployed, which was a couple months. The day after I got fired, the first thing I did was call my dad and tell him what had happened. I got let go because I stood up for what I believe in, and I did not tolerate disrespect. And, I called my dad the next morning, and I was like crying because yeah. And I told him, like, que más que nadie sabe que yo soy contestona, que yo no me voy a dejar, especially when to a man. Like, my dad knows more than anyone knows that, like, I stand up for what I believe in. And me and my dad have had a lot of clashes, and he knows that I'm not one to stay quiet when I think something's wrong. And, like I said, we've had some pretty intense disagreements, you could say. And, I was like, in all of this time, I have never gotten treated or talked to the way that man talked to me last night. I was genuinely hurt, and I was coming to him like, Dad, like, I cannot believe a man treated me like this. But yeah, the first thing he told me was, we got you, and come over, spend time with us, like, don't be alone. And so through the couple months that I was unemployed, like, I started to come and spend time with my family. And I live an hour away from Denver. I live in the middle of nowhere. So it really was just me in Denver on my own, fucking fending for myself. And being here showed me, like, I had a family to fall back on that was willing to welcome me in with open arms no matter what. And I've always known that. My parents have always begged me to move back home, but I've always just been super independent, and just, we didn't have a relationship where I felt comfortable living with them. But through being let go from my job was the first time I started spending more than a day with my family, and it really started to feel like home again. And I started to really have built that relationship with my brothers, with my parents. And it was a place where I felt completely vulnerable because I was unemployed. So I literally had nothing to offer. And my family still showed me that, like, even that was enough. Like, me being fucking alive was enough. Because, like, literally the comments that I would receive were so fucked up to the point where, like, people were making fun of me and laughing about the fact that I got fired from my job and doing some shitty things, like leaving some crazy comments. It was insane. I literally felt like I was on the ground, and then the comments were like spitting and laughing on me and like kicking me even more. Like, it was horrible. All I could ask myself was like, why? Like, ¿qué odio me tiene esta like gente? ¿Qué les hice? ¿Por qué? Like, why are they so fucking hateful? I didn't make this podcast for that. Like, I genuinely, I'm a fucking yapper, and I like to talk and I like to connect with people. I like to be vulnerable. I like to show people that, like, we're all going through the same shit and we're all fucking doing our best, and like that it's okay to fuck up and to not be perfect and whatever else. And so, like, that's all I wanted for this podcast, and it turned into something that I had already fallen, but it was digging me into a deeper and deeper hole to where I genuinely thought I had nothing to offer to this world. And like, I do not wish that on anyone. There were days where I literally just wouldn't get out of bed. And like, on top of that, I would get a fucking comment just telling me that I was a piece of shit on top of that. Like, it was horrible. And so I finally decided to take a break because I genuinely would rather lose my social media. At this point, I don't care who I have to lose, but like, I am not gonna lose myself again. And like, now I see it, like, now I get it. I made a joke at the beginning of this year that I was gonna start going to church again because like I had fallen, so like all I had left was to just pray because I was already on my fucking knees, you know. And I started going to church again because I'm also back closer to the church that I grew up going to. And I also really enjoy going to like Spanish church, and the church I go to just kind of feels like home. So I started to go more and more often. And so through that, like, I got way closer to God as well. And so I'm now able to see the lessons and everything through God's perspective and through God's teaching. Had I not lost my job and moved back home and had nothing else to do but to go to church, because this town literally has nothing to do, it isolated me. It isolated me from everything, and it made me see things from a whole different perspective. It made me see the people that actually care about me and show up for me. It made me see the people that never gave two fucks about me. I have always been the kind of person that gives people the benefit of the doubt, or that doesn't walk away when I should. In the past, like, I was such a fucking people pleaser, and I just wanted to be good with people and for people to think I was good too. And so I would see past a lot of things, and I know that had I still been in certain spaces, I would have kept those ties just out of comfort, out of not wanting to ruffle fucking feathers, out of not wanting to be in those uncomfortable places where, like, for example, like, I literally cut so many fucking people off after the elections and after the whole Charlie shit. Like, the only reason that I was cool with a lot of people was because I was forced to be in certain spaces with them. And I'm grateful that I'm no longer in a space where I need to be in spaces that don't serve me or around people that don't serve me. So yeah, I feel like I've made peace with a lot of things now, and have had to see a lot of things face on. I have had to learn how to strengthen my boundaries way more, and ultimately, like, to put myself first, because like, I'm the only person that's going to save me. Obviously, gracias a Dios, I have my parents, I have my family, and I'm very protected and loved and cared for. But at the end of the day, everyone else is going to choose themselves. So it's my turn to choose me. And 2025 has really been that year. Like, 2024 fucking broke me so bad, but I needed it. But in that moment, it really was fucking shitty. Like, 2024 was the worst fucking year of my life. Like, obviously I had really, really good moments, and through it all I learned a lot, but I was really intentional about 2025 and wanting to learn a lot of those patterns and wanting to really get right within myself so that no one else could break me. And like I said, I've had to like look myself in the mirror and figure out like where I've also played a role in my own suffering, where I haven't stood firm in my boundaries, where I have continued to repeat patterns that are no longer serving me, where I have been self-deprecating. So this year I really did focus on putting myself first, and I'm hoping to finally for 2026 make a full comeback to the podcast. I am only going to record on YouTube for now. I don't know about Spotify or Apple Music. They're running ice ads, and I don't know if I have to pay for that subscription, so it just doesn't feel right to pay for a service that is running ice ads. So for now, I think I'm going to stick to YouTube, but I really, really, really did miss this podcast. This is like a labor of love and something that I do because I genuinely care. When I sit down and talk, like, it really is healing for me. I get into this weird fucking flow state, and it really feels like meditative and healing for me. And I sit here and cry, and I know that that's me releasing what I need to release. And a lot of times I end up crying without like intending to, but this is genuinely like something I care about and something that I find value in, and I know other people do too. And I had been receiving a lot of signs that it was time to come back. I've had a lot of people asking me about the podcast, and you know, I'm always grateful when I see people, or when people let me know that they enjoyed the podcast, that it resonated with them, and or that it had a positive impact. That's really all I care about. But yeah, I think I'm finally at a good place mentally. I'm ready to get back to yapping. Like, I love to yap. I love to talk about my life. I like to process. I like to share what I've learned. I have gotten way closer to my spirituality and really tapped into not only my religious aspect of it, but also like, you know, the woo woo shit too. Like, not anything evil. I'm very much about light, but just how to have more spiritual protection, how to cleanse myself more, and yeah, just making sure that I have that spiritual protection. Moving back home, I think, also made me realize like how spiritually protected I am, and like reminded me that I come from a lineage of very, very strong people. I had a limpia on Saturday, and my grandpa showed up for me, and it was like the last and final confirmation for me to get back to doing the podcast. And he basically, you know, reminded me that I have a light within me, that my voice has a purpose, and told me to start using it again. To like, he literally like basically told me to like stand up, to fucking straighten up my spine, and to have a fucking spine, and to not let fucking, like, if anything, to remember that there is power within me, that he's protecting me always. But like, at the end of the day, even just living with my family has reminded me, like, I am my fucking father's daughter. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a weak person. I'm excited for what's coming moving forward. And I realize now that the reason that a lot of people wanted to break me down, wanted to comment and hate or whatever, and to dim my light, was because they recognized that it was there. Like, I think I downplay myself a lot and don't give myself credit enough, and didn't realize just how many people were tapped in. Hasta gente que claims to hate me. Like, the extent that people would go to make fake pages, to write hateful comments, to make weird videos. The extent that people would go to try to break me down was crazy. And I realize now that the only reason that they were trying to break me down was because they saw me as something bigger than them. They were trying to make me small. They were trying to make me shrink. They were trying to make me feel powerless. And I know now, after taking the time to sit with myself, I know now that, like, as long as I'm good with God, I'm good. And so yeah, I've made peace, and I'm grateful that I am in a place where I feel healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, and can proceed forward with this podcast, with this project that I enjoy doing. And, you know, if people claim to hate it or hate me, like, they're still watching. There's this quote that I've really resonated with lately that's like, you know, people have thrown dirt on my name, others have thrown me flowers. It's all a garden to me. And so that's genuinely how I'm seeing things moving forward. I know that if people are trying to silence me, it's because they can hear my voice. I know that if people are trying to dim my light, it's because they can see it. And so I need to recognize that within myself and know that there is power, because if I had random people hating on it, it also means that it reached random people, and random people cared enough to watch. So, you know, it really is how you see things. This year has really shifted my perspective. Even through what seemed like the worst moments of my life, I'm grateful to still be here and to, you know, continue to show up. And I know that future me will thank me just as I'm thanking the old me, that even though on 99% of my podcast I used to sit there and cry and bawl my eyes out, like, I wish I could give her a hug and tell her, like, everything's gonna be okay, but, like, keep shining your light, and, like, you're doing something that a lot of people wish they could do or don't have the audacity to do, because it takes a lot to be vulnerable. It takes a lot to show up. It takes a lot to try something new, to put yourself out there, to be fucking perceived. It takes a lot. And so I wish I could give her a hug and thank her. I just thank every single version of me that has gotten me here, that has persevered and has continued to show up. But yeah, that's where I've been. 2025 was really the year that isolated me, but, like, the year that I needed, that I was able to see things from a different perspective, and where I finally learned to put myself first. And I'm still learning, and I'm still growing, and I'm still fucking up constantly, but I'm grateful that I'm in a better place nonetheless. So I'm excited, and I'm thankful to be here with you all. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we will be back and be more consistent moving forward, but no promises. Like I said, I choose me and I choose myself, and if it doesn't feel right for me to come back, then I'm not. But hopefully I get to a place where we can start to show up more consistently. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. And yeah, se me cuidan.